Imagine holding a clay tablet in your hands, inscribed with symbols no one can read. Now imagine that tablet is 7,000 years old, created by a civilization that thrived in Europe 2,000 years before the pyramids were built, and a full millennium before the Sumerians invented what we call the world's first writing. This isn't science fiction. This is the Vinca culture, and their mysterious symbols might just rewrite everything we thought we knew about the birth of human civilization. We've all been taught the same story in school. Writing began in Mesopotamia around 3200 BC with Sumerian cuneiform. Egypt followed shortly after with hieroglyphics. These Near Eastern cultures gave birth to literacy, to recorded history, to civilization itself. But what if that story is incomplete? What if, hidden in the river valleys of the Balkans, another people were already marking their thoughts, their rituals, their very identity into clay centuries before Sumer even existed? Welcome to one of archaeology's most tantalizing mysteries. The Vinca symbols, sometimes called the Old European script or Danube script, consist of hundreds of mysterious marks found on pottery, figurines, spindle whorls, and other artifacts scattered across what is now Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, and Macedonia. These aren't random scratches or decorative patterns. They're deliberate, repeated, structured marks that appear to carry meaning. Some researchers believe they represent the world's first writing system. Others argue they're proto-writing, symbolic marks that convey ideas but don't represent spoken language. And still others dismiss them entirely as religious symbols or property marks with no linguistic content whatsoever. So, what exactly are we looking at here? The Vinca culture flourished between roughly 5,700 and 4,500 BC during the Neolithic period. These weren't primitive hunter-gatherers scraping out a living. The Vinca people built massive settlements, some housing thousands of people, making them among Europe's first urban centers. They were master potters, creating elaborate ceramics with stunning geometric designs. They worked copper, making them among the world's earliest metallurgists. Their society was complex, organized, and remarkably advanced for its time. And they left behind symbols. Hundreds of them. These marks appear on clay vessels, cult objects, and female figurines. Some symbols look like simple lines or chevrons. Others resemble abstract faces, crosses, or combinations of curves and angles that seem almost alphabetic. Individual signs appear repeatedly across different sites and time periods, suggesting a shared system of meaning. Some artifacts bear single symbols, while others display sequences of marks that tantalizingly resemble sentences or phrases. The discovery of these symbols has sparked fierce academic debate. In the 1960s and 70s, archaeologists began cataloging these mysterious marks systematically. By the 1980s, some scholars were making bold claims. They argued that the Vinca symbols represented true writing, a fully developed script capable of recording language. If true, this would make the Vinca script older than Sumerian cuneiform by 1,000 years or more, completely upending our understanding of where and when writing originated. But here's where it gets complicated. To be considered true writing, symbols need to do more than just represent ideas. They need to encode language itself, capturing the specific sounds, words, and grammar of speech. Most ancient writing systems have hundreds or thousands of distinct signs. Sumerian cuneiform eventually used about 600 different characters. Egyptian hieroglyphics employed over 700. But the Vinca symbols? Depending on how you count, there are somewhere between 200 and 700 distinct signs identified across all Vinca sites and time periods. That's a pretty wide range. And it matters because the number of symbols tells us something about what kind of system we're dealing with. Here's another challenge. Most Vinca artifacts bear only one or few symbols. Long inscriptions are virtually non-existent. The longest known sequence contains only about 50 signs. Compare that to Sumerian tablets, which often contain hundreds of characters recording everything from temple inventories to epic poetry. This brevity makes decipherment nearly impossible. When archaeologists cracked Egyptian hieroglyphics, they had the Rosetta Stone, a single artifact with the same text written in 3 different scripts. When they deciphered Linear B, the ancient Greek script, they had thousands of tablets to work with. But with Vinca, we have short sequences, no bilingual text, and no living descendants of the language to provide clues. Some researchers have attempted statistical analysis, looking for patterns in how symbols appear together. They've searched for signs of grammar, syntax, or phonetic structure. The results are maddeningly ambiguous. Some analyses suggest the symbols do show linguistic patterns. Others conclude they're too random, too inconsistent to represent true writing. It's like trying to solve a crossword puzzle when you only have 1 or 2 letters per word, and no idea what language the puzzle is even in. So what might these symbols actually represent? One theory is that they're proto-writing, an intermediate stage between simple pictograms and full writing. Many ancient cultures developed systems of symbolic communication before true writing emerged. The Jiahu symbols of ancient China, the Indus Valley script, the mysterious Rongorongo of Easter Island. All of these represent possible examples of proto-writing systems that convey meaning but might not record language in the way we typically understand it. The Vinca symbols could be similar, perhaps recording ownership marks, religious concepts, astronomical observations, or social identifiers. Another possibility is that they're ideographic, representing ideas rather than sounds. Think of modern symbols like the heart shape, representing love, or the peace sign. These convey meaning without phonetics. The Vinca symbols might have worked similarly, perhaps identifying deities, marking ritual objects, or denoting social roles within their complex society. The fact that so many appear on female figurines and pottery associated with domestic activities has led some researchers to suggest they might be related to religion, fertility cults, or goddess worship that seems to have been central to Vinca culture. But let's entertain the most exciting possibility. What if the skeptics are wrong and the Vinca symbols really do represent writing? What would that mean? It would mean that the foundations of literacy, one of humanity's most transformative inventions, emerged not once but multiple times in different places. It would mean that Europe's Neolithic farmers were far more sophisticated than we ever imagined. It would force us to reconsider the entire narrative of how complex societies developed. We think of writing as emerging alongside cities, kings, and empires in the Near East. But the Vinca had large settlements without apparent kings. They left no evidence of warfare or social hierarchies like those in Mesopotamia. Could they have invented writing for entirely different purposes? The truth is, we may never know for certain. The Vinca culture collapsed around 4500 BC, possibly due to climate change, invasions, or internal collapse. Their settlements were abandoned, their traditions forgotten. The symbols they left behind became silent witnesses to a vanished world. Without a breakthrough like discovering a Vinca Rosetta Stone or developing revolutionary new analytical techniques, these marks may remain forever mysterious, whispering secrets we cannot quite hear. But that mystery is part of what makes the Vinca symbols so compelling. They remind us that history is full of gaps, that our ancestors were far more diverse and innovative than our textbooks often suggest. They challenge us to question narratives we take for granted, and they invite us to imagine a Neolithic world far richer and more complex than we ever suspected, a world where farmers in the Balkans might have been recording their thoughts in symbols we still cannot read 7,000 years later. The Vinca symbols stand as testament to human creativity and our endless drive to communicate, to leave our mark, to be remembered. Whether they're true writing, proto-writing, or something else entirely, they represent a crucial moment in our species' journey. And until we crack their code, if we ever do, they'll continue to fascinate, frustrate, and inspire everyone who encounters them, reminding us that the past still holds mysteries waiting to be solved.